Welcome again to MyStartup.Live. It's Kevin Allen here in Irvine, California. We have a very special guest today. We spent the week down in San Diego at Startup Week, and I actually met this gentleman earlier, but we spent some time together down at the Startup Week San Diego. I'd like to introduce Dru Blake. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me. Yeah, it's been a crazy couple of weeks. Thank you.
So tell me a little bit about San Diego Startup Week.
Every single day, all day. I mean, you got speakers, events, workshops, hundreds of people walking around the city. I probably can tell you where to go from San Diego now. And I don't go down there much, but I know every single street.
So networking, there's probably some investors there that you learned from.
Yeah.
You're learning about pitch decks. You're learning about networking in general.
Yeah, pretty much everything. I mean, everything from literally, like I said, networking, VCs, angel investors, AI, clean tech, biotech. Every industry was there. They covered every industry, every aspect of entrepreneurship. It was nice, and it was inspiring to be around all those type of people.
And Dru, you're an entrepreneur yourself. Clearly, that's what the show's about. It's about interviewing CEOs and founders of new startups. We're out here in Orange County, but we're going to be interviewing people from abroad as well. Talk to me. You've had some experience actually working with startup networking events in the past.
Yeah, so when I first started, my goal was to, or at least my thought process was to volunteer and get involved as many events and organizations as I can. That way I can grow my network, and it worked pretty well. So I first started with 1 Million Cups, which is the National Kauffman Foundation. They're all over the United States, and that's every Wednesday morning. They have them different places, or different times for different places, but two entrepreneurs will pitch their companies, and they get 5-6 minutes to pitch, and they get 20 minutes of feedback from the audience, which usually consists of industry professionals from across all industries. And then I did a Startup Grind, so I was a co-director for Startup Grind for a little bit. That was a lot of work for a young entrepreneur that was just getting to the scene, but learned lots of things, and then just kept getting involved as much as I can.
So I think this is a great lesson, obviously, for entrepreneurs out there, is networking is key. You need to be out there, going to events, finding your talent, your team, connecting with investors, learning from other entrepreneurs. I think that's probably the most important element, right?
100%. I mean, you can go to as many events and listen to as many speakers as you want, but you're really not gonna. You're gonna learn a lot from that too. But the biggest thing is learning from the entrepreneur who's going through the same exact thing you are. And I think that's the biggest thing about entrepreneurship, is knowing that it isn't easy and everybody's going through that same exact thing. So them knowing that it's really hard and it's hard for you too, that it just gives them hope. I think so, yeah.
So let's go backwards a little bit further beyond before Startup Grind. You're kind of thinking about becoming an entrepreneur. Tell me that startup moment. You attended school at
the Art Institute.
Okay.
So I went to the Art Institute for industrial design. Actually, before that, to rewind, age 19, I had this product called Personal Tracker, for the lack of a better term. Went to one of the bigger firms, bigger guys, and they're like, okay, well, we love your idea. Give us $20,000. And I'm like, okay, well, 19 years old, let me get my checkbook out. Obviously didn't have that, so I took that money and invested it in my education towards product design. And it's panned out. My passion is to actually design and build and prototype people's inventions.
So if you could go back and if I gave you that $20,000, you can go back with it, would you just pay and get that product started, or was it a better track to get more experience and more, let's say, maturity before you kind of go with your new idea?
Oh, I'm totally glad they said that. So, I mean, it sent me on this whole path that I'm at now. So if I would have just done that, who knows where it would have gone. Maybe the product would have crashed, maybe it would have done really well, and then I would have found this track anyways, but just the learning experience is, priceless.
So Art Institute of
California, Orange County.
Orange County, and it's right here in
Santa Ana.
Santa Ana, okay.
Yeah.
So industrial design, explain what industrial design is to obviously our audience here.
Industrial design is, the ergonomics and aesthetics of products. So the way it looks, the way it feels, like these chairs, it has to be a certain height off the ground. So human factors. We learn about, how high this has to be to your elbow so it's comfortable. You know, you see the office chairs, they call them like the Ergo 10,000 or something, and it's amazing how much design goes into an office chair, and it looks like it's super
and
crazy.
to some degree, durability as well. I mean, how that product's going to be functional and what you're going to do with that product determines how, you know, how strong each part of the product needs to be.
Right, and then there's material studies, color studies. You got to do storyboards, and it's such a there's so much that goes into a product. People are like, hey, just, you know, can you design this spaceship or something? I always go to spaceships because I really like spaceships, but you know, a phone case or this or that. But there's, you know, the ideation and where it goes it's a really long process, but it's fun, you know.
So now you have Design Faktion,
Yes.
and how did you come up with that name?
Funny story. So there was back in 2000, I think, for PlayStation 2, there's this video game called Red Faction, and it's about this rebel group on Mars that is fighting against the government because they're being unfair. Same old story, you know, real life video games. So I've always had this like rebel tendency against like always wanting to fight for something, and I think when I found my passion for industrial design, I wanted to kind of keep that going. So Design Faktion with a C was actually taken. So I went on, you know, .com and tried to get the domain name, and I was like, okay, well, how can I do it? And I think in the startup world, we always like to change one letter or add two letters or something like that. So I put the K in there.
It creates some identity, and I think that's not a bad thing. You know, have uniqueness. Yep. So was this your first? I mean, okay, you graduated from the Art Institute. Did you come up with a product right away, or what was your first kind of venture out into the unknown?
Mm-hmm. Well, I actually graduated literally last Thursday. So
congratulations.
Yeah, just graduated. Thank you. So, and I started Design Faktion about a year ago, and then we launched about 6 months ago.
Okay.
So, yeah, we actually started with 4 partners, and we actually cut it down to 2, and then ultimately down to 1. So what I learned in the 6-month span was absolutely priceless. Everyone was always like, you're crazy to have 4 partners, and we're going to split it 25 ways or 25% each way. And
it's amazing how you're dividing up the money before you even make anything at all.
Well, yeah, and everyone's always like, you're crazy for doing that. And my goal was I wanted 4 really good minds, 2 designers, 2 engineers, and I didn't want anyone to hold their ideas back. So like for the bigger companies, if you got a designer in the back, he's getting paid $60,000 a year, and he's coming up with all these crazy ideas, and the company's making millions off paying someone $60,000. That's not what I wanted to happen. I wanted everyone to have the equal say in it, and nobody
and sort of
hold
equal
ideas.
Value back for what their creation. It's creation at the end of the day. I mean, designers. That's what the cool part about designers is that you're actually coming up with, you know, real something tangible.
Right.
Yeah. So, talk to me through the path of these partnerships and why you decided to sort of almost relinquish your relationship in a way, or kind of go back to your core.
Yeah, I mean, nothing against the guys. They're good friends, still are. It was more of, I think when something's like your own baby, you put in 1,000%, and then some other people just don't. Even though they think they're working really hard, they're just not doing as much as you'd want them to do, or they think they should do, I guess you could say. So, I mean, when it came down to it, it was just putting in the work and getting the value out of that work. I was working as hard as I could on it, and then sometimes other people weren't. And then I was getting advice. You don't want to have to sit there and talk, be like, hey, can I do this between 4 people, or split it 4 ways? So I ultimately came to the decision to where I will just do it, and then I'll bring people in, and then invest them in once they prove themselves. And
almost by project, in a way.
Right, of course,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So if the project entails that you need a bigger team, you have a network of contacts you can bring in that are going to end up creating that solution for the customer.
Yep.
And then if they want to stay, if they performed well, if you feel like there's a match there, you can keep them on.
Yeah.
Long term.
Exactly.
So was this your first entrepreneurial venture after the, remind me again, it was the
Change Frame?
Change Frame.
Right. So even before that, what I was just remembering on my way up here from San Diego was I did this thing called InstaFix. So back when like the iPhones were really, like when they're just coming out and you can fix the screen, I saw this video of these kids making like hundreds and hundreds of dollars, right? You can fix an iPhone screen in like 10 minutes.
10 minutes, right.
10 minutes.
With the right tools.
Right.
So you need the tools to open it up, right?
Right. So what I did was I went on Amazon and I bought all the kits and did all that stuff. And what I found out was my hands are really big for the little iPhone stuff. And where I stopped Instafix, because I can instantly fix your thing, I got these little cards. It was hilarious. I had some buddies come over and their phone was broke. And I tried fixing it, and an hour later they were playing video games, and I was like, yeah, the phone won't turn on. So that was my buddy Alex, and yeah, so I kind of just let that one go. And I didn't really think of myself as an entrepreneur then, and then I went
It's hard to scale that one too,
yeah,
in a way.
I mean, definitely.
You
So
can still fix iPhones, but I mean, it's going to take you a long time to sort of get all the iPhones.
yeah,
you
definitely.
know, through that.
And then more of the entrepreneurial thing was ChangeFrame. So ChangeFrame was a digital frame. It was like a 17-inch digital frame that linked up to an app on your phone, and you can send photos and video
Right
via the app.
right to the frame.
Right to the frame. So the goal was grandpa, grandma don't get out of the house much, can't get there, or mom and dad. You go travel the world, and you can just send photos back. But it wasn't. I mean, there's plenty of digital frames out there.
Sure.
So kind of what we did was. You could see videos and photos at the same time. We did like these cool collages, and then like you'd send one photo and the photo would disappear, and then the other one would pop up. And we like to call it like, oh, we got this cool algorithm, because that's when saying algorithm was really cool. I mean, obviously everyone says it now still, but
Right.
I don't know. Just being able to say like, hey, I got some people from some developers from UCI to help me out as like an internship, which was really cool. So.
Always good to get students involved. Students are hungry, and they obviously want to learn. So, you know, great resource to have for an entrepreneur as well.
Definitely. So I went. That's where it all started, was at Eureka Building. So Taylor, she's the director of the
Shout out to the Eureka Building, Eureka Labs on Instagram.
Yeah, definitely. The Eureka Building is literally where everything started for me. Taylor saw that I was working on ChangeFrame, and she's like, come check out Startup Grind was the first one. And I'm like, no, I'm too busy. That's when I thought I was actually busy, and had no idea what that word meant, obviously. And so I came and checked out the first Startup Grind, and then that was it. It was talking, networking.
You were sold. You're like, networking. This is my world. I mean, you're starting to feel that energy.
Oh, I loved it. I loved going out there. I'm a really outgoing person. Loved to just go out there and talk. I'd rather go out and talk than actually like run my business. So it's, I'd rather go grab the people, bring them back. So everything. So with ChangeFrame, when I got to the point, I did that for about a year and a half. I got to the point to where I couldn't get the price per screen down, and this was like my first year of design school. Didn't know how to do anything to like literally design it and do it myself or manufacture it. Couldn't get the price down to where I wanted it, so I kind of just cut it off. And I didn't want to be the digital frame guy anymore. When I saw these other entrepreneurs working on like green energy and biotech and all this stuff and AI and algorithms, and I'm like, hey, who wants to like take a picture and check out the digital frame? So, I wanted to work on something bigger.
There's still a billion photos taken every like second or every minute. I don't even know the number, but it's a lot of photos taken every day for sure.
Right, and everyone always sends me, if they see like a new digital frame out, they like send it to me like, oh yeah, you were onto something, and I'm like, yeah, well they can have that. I want to work on something like, world changing or game changing. It solves a real world problem or helps other people out. I mean, obviously sharing photos is huge because it we're such far distances between families now. Like my mom and sister in Texas, my dad's up north, little brother's in San Diego. I live in Huntington Beach.
Okay, so you're kind of spread out.
All over the place. And that's kind of what started all that. So then, once I stopped that, I just kind of focused on school, and I always knew that I wanted to do my own design firm. I've tried to work for hundreds of different jobs, busboys, host, server, worked at Brookstones. I was the guy in front of Brookstone, like playing a little guitar, trying to get all the kids in there and like, flying the drones and doing all that stuff. Like, I've always been really outgoing and personal like that. I just hated work checking in, like 9 to 5 or whatever.
Oh, you don't have to tell me twice about that. But, certainly that's why we're all here is you have an idea, you have a product you maybe want to get to market. And Design Faktion is a great place to start. Because you're going to bring their product from sort of ideation to talk to me about the process of sort of what you provide for the entrepreneur.
Yeah, so basically Design Faktion is a full-scale product design firm, and we'll take your concept we'll take your idea from concept to completion. So everything from concept design, which is where we kind of take your idea. I like to say we like to extract your idea from your mind. We like to put a little cool spin on it. We'll sit there. We'll do my team and I will do the concept sketches. We'll send those. I'll meet with them again, get the design direction that they want, and then we'll take that. We'll render it. We'll put it in like solid. Then we'll 3D model it. We'll give them like a cool 3D print if that's the right thing to do. We use laser cutters. I mean, we have a whole little machine shop out in Lake Elsinore where we do all our prototyping. We also have partnerships that we do with like manufacturers. So we have 3 local manufacturers and we have 3 overseas. We obviously push local manufacturing. We love the American made thing, obviously. Obviously, products have to make money, so if we do have to go overseas, we can.
You got a price point. You got to hit. You might need to take the product overseas to get it to that level.
Right, but basically, what we do is if you have an idea, we will help you develop it. It doesn't matter what the idea is. We have a very diverse team of engineers and designers. The cool thing about industrial design is it's such a broad major. We can design you a spatula. We could design you a chair. We could design, transportation's huge. We got a lot of good guys that do transportation at school. And if you need a car design, I could find someone for you. But obviously we wouldn't design a car.
That's ambitious.
But very, very ambitious.
But if it's a technical product to some degree, you're still getting it to a visual stage that can be, let's say, presented for investors to sort of buy into. So if it's a more complex product, it's probably going to require a lot of stages, and you might be the first couple stages of that process. Right,
and then the whole idea behind Design Faktion was putting them in different packages, right? So it's, you go to the bigger guys, you get like full from like 0 to 100. We can do 0 to 100, and we do that. We've actually done that for every single product so far. But if someone comes to us and they already have concept sketches, then we'll render them for you. If you already have a prototype literally in your hand, we'll send you to the manufacturers and we'll help you with logistics and all that stuff.
Or you'll perfect it. Maybe go back a stage and kind of like fine tune it to a degree because it's a little bit rough. It's created by someone, quote, at home.
Right, and the whole goal is to lower the cost of design and manufacturing, and that's literally why I started Design Faktion, was so that to get a phone case designed shouldn't cost $30,000. I feel like, and I know I'm new to the industry and some people are like, well, you can't talk about something that you don't know about yet, but I feel like I know what my time costs and what my team times cost. Shouldn't cost you $30,000, but I do understand that the bigger firms have a lot of overhead, office space, engineers, all that stuff. We don't have that yet, and that's, we like to keep the overhead down. That way we can give the good prices to. All of our clients so far have been startups. So
let's talk about that. You have a startup. We have an example here, I believe, from Flower and Petal.
Yes.
Let's talk a little bit about Flower and Petal. How did you start that, and where are you at with that client?
Okay, so yeah. So the cool thing about Flower and Petal is I met the founder Victoria at 1 Million Cups. So
there you go. So proof to the networking, the power of networking.
Yeah. So every single client that we've had, I've literally met at 1 Million Cups. Just going out talking to people is how you get clients. Nothing really has come through our website yet. But back to Victoria. So the way that started was we just had the relationship through 1 Million Cups. See her at all the different things, and then she's like, "Hey, I got an idea." She came to me and she's like, "I'd like to have like a team go at this." So then me and my team, have been helping her, and she was like, "I have this really messy purse and all this stuff's in there," and obviously we don't carry purses and we don't have all that stuff. So it was a really
learning process.
Very, I think most people have been like, if they would have turned it away just because they don't know anything about it. But for me, I want to learn everything I can about, every type of industry.
What the pain is, what the need is.
Exactly. So with her, it was, she wanted a modular cosmetic case that organized everything in your purse. Your lipstick, mints, lotion, and all the other cool things that women keep in their purse. So, and that was the design behind that. And she had this vision of the flower and the petal. So the whole thing looks like a flower, and then you take each petal off, and then you can either like do the lip balm or, take petal off and you do like your foo-foo, as I like to call it.
Right, the sprays.
Perfume, yeah.
Let's take a look. I think, Travis, do you have it on screen? So there we go. There's the finished product, right?
Yes.
So then Victoria, or in this case, Flower and Petal, the brand, would take this item to investors, clients, manufacturer, and she can basically start the business.
Right. Yeah. And the cool thing, I mean, my passion for industrial design and my passion for entrepreneurship is really unique, I think, because we don't only just build like your products for you. I have this really cool pitch deck that a friend had given to me, and I sit down and I give them like 10 minutes and I'm like, okay, this is what you need to do. Your 10 slides, solution, problem, market, all that stuff, analysis. I really just want to help everyone start their own business. If I can get more people off a 9-to-5, that makes me happier, because I could never imagine doing the 9-to-5.
So if you have a product idea out there, again, and you even have a concept of it, you have it drawing, you have even a prototype, maybe even something functional, you want to kind of vet it, and you want to get it to the next stage, and you want to, bring it to market, a design firm like Design Faktion is a great place to start, industrial design firm, because that's sort of the first door you got to open, right?
Right. Yeah. So, I mean, if you have the idea, you're thinking about it, you're on the fence, which every single entrepreneur or inventor that I talk to, they're like, I've had this idea for 10 years. Even my barber, my old, like 3 years ago, he's like, I got all these different ideas for clippers and this. And I'm like, come check out one of these events. And he's like, no, I don't want anyone to steal it. That's the biggest thing, too, about entrepreneurs is NDAs and all these things. And it's like, yes, NDAs are good. Always protect your idea as much as you can. But in the big scheme of things, they're just paper. And it's, you want to tell, I was listening to this panel and they were saying, you want to tell as many people as you can about your idea. One, it validates the idea. You can't just talk to your friends and family, because they're going to be like, oh, that's the greatest idea in the world.
Right.
They're not going to tell you straight up.
They love you, so they want to support you.
Exactly. They say talk to 100 different people before you go after an idea. Whether that's right or wrong, it's just what I've heard. But if you have an idea, just go after it. Just start it. That's literally my biggest advice would be, just do it, literally. like I said before, I've gone to hundreds of events, I've seen speakers, I've done, I haven't done as much as a lot of people, but I didn't start learning until I actually went through the legal to do my LLC, to do all the different paperwork. That's when I started really learning it. And yeah, the events are fun. You could talk, I got this great idea, but that's just get out there and start it, literally.
Right. And we mentioned 1 Million Cups twice, so there's a website, 1millioncups.com, with the 1 at the beginning. And that is a great place to go pitch your idea for the first time, because you're going to get honest feedback. No one in the room is going to take your idea because they're all doing the same thing. They already have something that they're wanting to present and network with others.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing, too, is people are afraid of, is it's so hard to execute. Everyone has thousands of ideas. I used to think, oh, I got so many ideas, a company would be so happy to have me. But every single entrepreneur has so many amazing ideas. It's the execution, and it's super hard to execute.
So you're talking about how busy you are nowadays. Everyone's busy, let's say, but what makes your, let's say, schedule work? How do you manage all these different factors right now?
Now that school's over, I had school all day. I was probably at school till 11, so in between then, I would try to do Design Faktion. And as you can imagine, design school, 90 sketches a week, and building in the shop, doing furniture, and all kinds of different things. It was a very aggressive schedule, but you just find time. If it's your passion, you'll find the time. If it's something you're like, I'll get to it, then it's probably not your passion. And
you're probably not going to do very well at it either.
No, exactly. And it'll show, and people will notice.
They'll lose confidence, your customer will lose confidence, the investor will lose confidence.
Yeah. Just like San Diego Startup Week. That was literally all day from 8 a.m. to, I think, 10 p.m. I was there for that pitch competition. It was like Founders Fight Club, which was really cool. But yeah, it's literally 7 a.m. to 1 or 2 a.m. And if you do have a 9-to-5 job, you're probably making more money than me right now. That's for sure. But a lot of the things that I hear is, I think it's I forget his name, but work on it after work.
Right.
If it's your idea, and then just start off with writing it on a piece of paper. Get a Word document and just I like to call barfing on the paper. Just barf everything out, just barf it all out, and then go back and edit it, clean it. Lots of friends help me. I literally would not be sitting in the seat right now if I didn't help as many people as I've helped. And they'll help you with whatever you need help with. Just ask.
Of course. So how do you scale Design Faktion going forward? Where are you going to take it in the future?
You know, I was just talking about that with someone down in at Startup Week, and I think as a service-based company, you just have to charge more, I think, to scale, because then you bring more people and you get more products, right? The bigger team you have, the more products you can take on. I think right now we're working on 2 of our own products, and we're working on 3 of clients' products, and that's a lot for a 5-person team right now. To scale it, we would literally have to charge more, and that's not what I wanted to do. That's not why I got into. That's not why I started Design Faktion. So it's kind of molded into the idea I was talking about with the product launch platform. Okay. And basically what that is say you put your idea up on it. It's a closed ecosystem. You put your idea up, and people in different aspects, you know, you have your industrial design, which is usually the first stage. Then you have engineering, which is the second stage. And then your third stage is manufacturing. And then after that, it's logistics and sales, marketing, all that stuff. The goal is to, you know, streamline that process and lower the cost of design and manufacturing by these companies bidding on that. So, you know, and then also having an ecosystem where you have angel investors and VCs and
it's almost like a marketplace for new idea concepts that are at different levels, and you're going to get different inputs and different bids from suppliers and eventually people that want to be part of the business. Right.
The goal is to give the entrepreneur, the inventor, the lowest price possible. And all these companies probably listening right now are like, well, we're not ever going to do that because we want, you know, we need to make our money. But right. I think if I can convince enough people and show, if we can get more people inventing, who knows the next thing that they
innovation.
Invent. I mean, it's all about, you know, progressing the human race and changing the world. And, you know, I heard a lot of guys, like last night, they were talking about IoT and making everything talk with each other and stuff. And
we just had a show on IoT on the last show on Apple Box Network.
Oh, really?
We talked about IoT.
Nice.
Yeah.
And it's the big picture stuff is kind of what I want to do. It's like the price shouldn't be the reason why someone's amazing world-changing idea couldn't get out there. And that's the whole reason behind this platform. Whether that will be a part of Design Faktion or it'll be a separate entity, I'm still working on it right now, but I just want, you know, who knows what will be the next, what if, I mean, this is a reach, but the next Cold Fusion came through the platform because, you know, the idea is he puts the idea up and then maybe an angel investor sees that, it's like, I'll take care of all the levels for you. And maybe it was Cold Fusion, we solved the energy crisis.
So big dreams, big dreams.
Definitely.
Well, believe it or not, that was 30 minutes.
Oh, wow.
I want to thank you.
Of course, yeah.
I want to thank you for coming up after such a long week, San Diego Startup Week. We're here on MyStartup.Live. This is Dru Blake, and Dru Blake is your resource for getting your product launched off the ground, Design Faktion, right?
Yeah.
Website?
Designfaction.com. It's with a K, so just design regular and then K instead of a C.
And some designs would end up probably on Instagram and other platforms as well.
Yeah, all of our social media is at Design Faktion.
Easy.
And then, yeah, Dru Blake at Facebook, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, everything's just Design Faktion. You can find us there. If you have an idea, let me know. Emails Dru@designfaction.com, all that stuff.
Dru@designfaction.com, and that's spelled D-R-U.
Yes,
right?
So it's D-R-U.
Okay.
Yeah.
And also on Facebook, on our comments feed, please, if you have a product idea, if you have a question for Dru, please do ask it. We will monitor the feed. We'll get back to you about anything, getting your product vetted and created into, obviously, something worth selling.
Right. We'd love to help in any way possible.
Thank you so much. This is MyStartup.Live. This is show number 3, and we're looking forward to our next guest.